Hi everybody, this is day 57 of my vlog. I missed a week. I'm working on my next set of things to say, taking a little break. Sometimes it's not easy to communicate exactly what you have on paper and have people understand it. And so this vlog in particular, I want to say well, and I'm praying that I will say it well. The title of the vlog is The Good Samaritan and Whose Life Matters. You know already that I'm going to get in trouble here. We are living in a day where the discussion or debate about whose life matters is really hot and condemning. Many people on both sides of this debate are hurt and angry. Can you say the word Black Lives Matter and not be upset about it? Can you say the words police life matters and not get other people upset? Can you say white lives matter? Can you even say the unborn babies' lives matter? And then people get mad because you said one and not the other. And to say the phrase all lives matter is to get yourself assaulted. Heard a girl on a YouTube video, she lost her job for it. She said, I'm going to stab people that say that. Wow. Wow. For saying something that's true. What brings it to this place in the discussion? The very definition of lives matter has been stolen, has been redefined as a political or a social statement. Why would we even go there? It has bothered me immensely, and I prayed to God for wisdom on how to address this. Am I actually sinning by not jumping on the bandwagon of a single issue like Black Lives Matter? And I'm just, for the record's sake, I am very much convinced they matter. I'm against racial injustice. But it's not a political issue for me. It's not a social issue. It's a personal issue. And the movement, the organization Black Lives Matters is 100% political. And it's probably very little racial. From my seeing, my looking at it, they're using race for an agenda. So I asked God for wisdom. And God kept taking me back to the story of the Good Samaritan, Luke chapter 10, verses 25 through 37. And in the story starts with a man coming to Jesus, a lawyer. Boy, lawyers play into this picture, don't they? And he says, what must I do? What does the law require for me to get into heaven, or to be a good person, or to be on the right side of society? He's setting a trap for Jesus. It says that. It says he's testing Jesus. In our world today, people are setting the same kind of trap for other people all the time, to trap them, hoping to be able to condemn somebody for being a racist, or on the left, or on the right, or on the other side of any issue than they are in. No group is exempt from this hideous kind of behavior of setting traps for others, and it's hideous. Jesus responds to the lawyer by asking him, what does the law say? He's asking the lawyer what the law says. And this lawyer knows the law. I mean, he really knows it, because he doesn't just quote the don'ts and the do's. He understands the law, that in its essence is not about don't do something. He understands that the law is about love for your neighbor, and even more, love God with all your heart. He knows that. That's what he tells Jesus. And Jesus says, that's the right answer. And then it says in verse 25, not 25, in verse 29, I'll get there, hang on a second. In verse 29, he says, wanting to justify himself, the lawyer says, who's my neighbor? In other words, I want to feel good about myself. So which person do I choose to the exclusion of somebody else to love? And that's hideous. Because the law was love your neighbor. He's wondering, do I have to love Gentiles? Do I have to love Samaritans? Do I have to love Romans? What about Jews that don't agree with my religious party of Judaism? Do I have to love them? And you see, the question he says when I says, who's my neighbor, is, do I have to love everybody? Or maybe, do all lives matter? To me, it's the same question. Or do any certain lives matter? I love how Jesus answers this. He tells the story of three people who see a neighbor who needs to be loved and helped. The man's been beaten and robbed, and he's lying wounded and dying on the side of the road. And unfortunately, he's not with the same group of people that the lawyer's with. He's a Samaritan. You could actually say he's white, or he's black, or he's a Greek, or a Roman, or anything other than what you are. And two of those people find an excuse, a reason not to love this neighbor. And what's even worse is they find the excuse within the law. The problem's not in the law. Don't blame the law. Don't say the system is broken. It's the persons that are broken. The law is good. It's the persons using it that are broken. So two of them find a reason not to love, but wonderful news, one person finds a reason to love their neighbor. And that reason is real simple. The neighbor was right there in front of them, needing to be loved. I believe Jesus would have been colorblind as to who his neighbor is. He would have been religious blind as to who his neighbor is. Think of the woman that comes to him, that's a Samaritan woman. And he does know that that's not who he came to, but he helps her. I want to love my neighbor, not single out certain ones to love, but to love all of them. I refuse to put a specific noun in front of the words lives matter. I refuse to join that hideous behavior. Will you join me in loving your neighbor?